Hello, boys. Good morning. Good morning. It is VLOGUST day 11, and it's time to feed doggos. Hey, bud. I put the wrong dog food in the wrong bowl, so Boba gets a lot of wet food today. Boba, sit. Sit. Good boy. Leave it. Let go. Oh wait. Wrong one. Sorry. Wrong bowl. You get that one. Go. Sit. Go. Go. See, Boogie has gotten used to me giving him hugs before he eats his food, so watch this. Yeah, sure. Good boy. Okay, go. Gotta give him his hug before he eats food. These are the ingredients for what I like to call an egg blender. Don't knock it till you try it. Normally I would use the Flavor God all-purpose seasoning, but we're out, so today it's Mrs. Dash. I decided last minute I want a third egg in there. Just trust me on this one. Doesn't that look just delicious? Alright, that should be good. How tasty that looks. So what I'm gonna do now is we're gonna head into the fridge. And normally I would put it in like a low carb wrap, but we don't have any. But we do have these little pita pockets. I'm gonna get those. Also gonna grab a little bit of sour cream. How do you open this thing? Oh, okay. I'm gonna soften this up in the microwave for a few seconds. Okay. Stand up. Oh, shoot. Last step, sour cream. Oh, I can't move it. Oh. Okay, this is just gonna end up being messy. Hold on. All right, I've got my pita egg blender thing, and I've got some coffee, which means the day has officially begun. After I eat my breakfast, it's off to get ready, and later I've got a fun little photo project that I want to try out using that little crystal, well not little, but that big chunk of glass, that crystal ball that I showed you in a past video. I'm gonna do a fun photo project with that, so stick around for that. So I have this crystal ball, and I was thinking about ways that I could use it for some creative photography. So I kind of developed this thought of putting up a black backdrop and framing up the shot, putting a camera on the tripod, mounting the crystal ball, which is over there, and shooting through that against a black backdrop. And this is the setup I came up with. Okay, so let me walk you through the setup here. First of all, we've got, oh man, where do I start? First of all, this backdrop is really just a thing of black duck cloth. I actually had to get out an iron and use the kind of the steam and iron it a little bit up against the wall to get out some of the wrinkles because it was pretty wrinkly. It was just folded up in a cabinet in my room. Next, of course, we have the crystal ball here, which I've placed on top of a quick release plate, which I've placed on top of just kind of an old cheap tripod, but it works for what I'm trying to do here. Over here, I've got my Canon 7D Mark II. Connected to that, I have a 70-200 f2.8 lens. Originally, I started with a 24 to 70 lens, but that wasn't giving me the zoom that I needed, so I had to switch over to that. Connected to the Canon 7D Mark II is a cable that runs over to my MacBook Pro here, and I'll be doing some live tethering into Lightroom for that. So I actually had to do some troubleshooting with the lighting. I had to do a few test shots because I had to move things around quite a bit. So at first, everything was moved much farther back, and the crystal ball was maybe 5 or so feet from the black backdrop. But what I failed to remember is that when you're shooting through a crystal ball, it essentially acts like a fisheye lens. So it was just picking up all the white walls and things like that. So it wasn't quite working. I had to move the crystal ball much closer to the backdrop there, and also move the camera in a little bit closer. So obviously it's still daytime. We've got a light coming in through these windows over here, which is the reason for this thing here, which I'll kind of spread out when I start shooting. But it's actually not to block the light as much, but just more to block the reflections from the windows, because I would notice that the window reflections were showing up in the images reflecting off of the crystal ball there. So had to put that up to block some of that light, but I actually want some light coming in through here. And the reason I want that is actually based on how the flash is working. I initially had the flash mounted directly above so that it was shooting directly down on top of me, but I was noticing in some of the initial pictures that the light was reflecting way too much off the top of the crystal ball in the picture. So I moved it off to the side, played with a couple different placements over there, and what I find now is that with the little sliver of light that comes through here and the sliver of light that shows up in the reflection of the crystal ball from the flash, it actually creates a nice framing for the face, which you'll see in some of the final pictures. And that's a wrap for the crystal ball photo shoot. Now I ran into some focusing issues along the way. I was trying to use one single focus point and hope that the camera would pick it up. When I pressed the remote shutter, didn't quite work that way. I had to expand the focus points in the camera in order for it to pick it up. And I still didn't get quite as sharp as I would have liked on the eyes especially. But I think if you're looking at them from, you know, a foot or so away, you won't even notice. Also, if I had more space and if I had a giant black wall, this would have made it a lot easier than trying to get nice and tight in on a small duck cloth background, because as you can kind of see in some of the photos, if you're paying attention to it, you can still see some of the wrinkles in the cloth and everything like that. Not optimal, but I think it's still a pretty cool effect. But overall, I was pretty satisfied with the shots, and considering that it was a quick experiment and quick setup, I think they came out pretty good. So without further ado, here are some of my favorite shots from this little experiment. And that'll do it for me. That's it for day 11. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe, all that good stuff. And we, of course, will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.